Beneath our oceans lies a world in crisis. Coral reefs are disappearing at an alarming rate. But across the globe, an extraordinary movement is fighting back. From underwater nurseries to scientific breakthroughs, from community-led projects to global partnerships, we're witnessing what once seemed impossible: severely damaged reefs coming back to life. Join us as we explore how scientists, communities, and everyday people are writing a new chapter in coral conservation, and how you can be part of this growing wave of hope. Beneath the waves lies one of Earth's most extraordinary wonders, a kaleidoscope of life that has thrived for millennia. Coral reefs are not just beautiful, they're among the most vital ecosystems on our planet. But our coral reefs are disappearing at an unprecedented rate. In just 30 years, we've lost half of the world's coral reefs, with some areas like Florida seeing declines of nearly 98%. If global warming reaches 1.5 degrees Celsius, we could lose 90% of our remaining reefs. At 2 degrees, that becomes 99%, essentially extinction. With our planet already having warmed by about 1.2 degrees, we're approaching a critical threshold for reef survival. This matters because coral reefs support 25% of all marine life while covering less than 1% of the ocean floor. They protect our coastlines by reducing wave energy by over 90% and generate billions in tourism and fisheries that support nearly 500 million people worldwide. But there is hope. Around the world, scientists and communities are accelerating restoration efforts, developing innovative technologies, and enhancing reef resilience. But to understand how we can save them, we first need to explore what coral reefs are and why they're so vital to life on Earth. Coral reefs aren't just underwater rock formations. They're living cities, built by tiny coral polyps over thousands of years. These small animals form colonies, each polyp extracting calcium from seawater to build the massive limestone structures we call reefs. These underwater metropolises are among Earth's most diverse habitats, hosting an estimated 800,000 species. That's nearly a third of all named marine species in just one ecosystem. Beyond their biodiversity, reefs serve as our coastal guardians. They stand as our first line of defense, a natural breakwater that saves coastal communities billions each year. Their value is immeasurable: $375 billion in annual economic benefits across tourism, fisheries, coastal protection, and medicine. Tourism alone generates over $36 billion yearly, while reef fisheries sustain 500 million people worldwide. These ecosystems are even medicine cabinets, with compounds like cytarabine, the first marine-derived cancer drug, originating from reef organisms. Each reef is a perfectly balanced ecosystem where diverse fish communities maintain water quality and control algae growth, nature's most efficient life support system. Coral reefs are invaluable, but they're under severe threat. Now that we see their value, let's uncover the forces putting these underwater cities at risk. What's killing our coral reefs? It begins with temperature. As human-caused greenhouse gas emissions warm our planet, our oceans absorb this excess heat. When water temperatures rise too high, stressed corals expel their symbiotic algae, their primary food source, turning ghostly white. This is coral bleaching. If conditions improve quickly, corals can recover by reclaiming their algae. But prolonged heat, stress, or frequent bleaching events in succession leave corals without nutrition for too long, eventually causing starvation and death. The pace of coral loss is accelerating dramatically. We've already lost half of the world's coral reefs since the 1950s, with the rate of decline speeding up in recent decades. The Great Barrier Reef alone has suffered 4 mass bleaching events in just 7 years, losing half its shallow water coral. Yet reef health varies dramatically by region. Parts of the South Pacific still maintain relatively healthy reef ecosystems, while the Caribbean has experienced declines of up to 80%. Meanwhile, oceans absorb excess CO2, becoming more acidic and weakening coral skeletons, making them vulnerable to storms and preventing growth. Local threats intensify the crisis. Pollution from coastal development blocks sunlight and poisons corals. Overfishing disrupts the delicate balance of reef ecosystems. Disease outbreaks spread rapidly through weakened coral populations. These threats combine, creating a perfect storm for reefs worldwide. A coral weakened by pollution is more vulnerable to disease. A diseased coral bleaches more easily. But even in these darkest moments, innovative solutions are emerging, and they're working. Meet the underwater gardeners, scientists and conservationists pioneering techniques to regrow our dying reefs. Coral gardening is one of the most successful approaches. Small fragments of healthy coral are collected and attached to underwater nurseries, structures designed to accelerate growth before transplanting back to degraded reefs. In these protected nurseries, corals grow 25 to 50% faster than in the wild. Once matured, they're carefully transplanted to restore damaged reef sections, a process that's already bringing life back to countless reefs worldwide. An innovative technique called microfragmentation allows even slow-growing boulder corals to be cut into tiny pieces that grow significantly faster, then fuse back together, turning decades of growth into just years. The technique works because corals prioritize healing at cut edges, similar to how a small wound heals faster than a large one. When placed close together, these rapidly growing fragments naturally reconnect to form a single colony. But restoration goes beyond simply growing more coral. In laboratories around the world, scientists are developing supercorals, specimens that can withstand higher temperatures and more acidic conditions. Through selective breeding, researchers identify corals that naturally survive in warmer waters and help them multiply. Just like farmers selectively breed stronger crops, others focus on the microscopic algae living inside corals, finding heat-resistant varieties of these symbionts that can enhance coral survival during warming events. Scientists call this assisted evolution, helping corals adapt faster than nature alone would allow. Researchers are even creating coral seed banks, cryopreserving sperm and embryos from over 30 coral species to preserve genetic diversity for future restoration efforts. Bacterial probiotics, beneficial microbes applied directly to corals, show promise in treating disease and enhancing climate resilience. Just as probiotic bacteria in our gut help us digest food and fight harmful microbes, these beneficial bacteria strengthen coral immune systems when facing environmental stress. These scientific innovations play a crucial role in coral conservation, helping degraded reefs actively recover and regain their resilience. While restoration alone can't solve all the challenges reefs face, it significantly boosts their ability to withstand current threats and recover more quickly when conditions improve. Modern conservation techniques are transforming coral restoration from basic coral gardening into comprehensive ecosystem recovery. Although ultimately addressing climate change is essential for coral survival, these conservation methods offer vital support, protecting biodiversity and ensuring that coral reefs are as healthy and resilient as possible for future generations. This isn't just theory. Coral restoration is working right now in oceans around the world. From the Caribbean to the Pacific, restoration projects are showing measurable success, not just in coral growth, but in revitalizing entire marine ecosystems. In Puerto Rico, a community-based project transformed a damaged elkhorn coral population. Transplanted colonies grew from an average of just 18 centimeters in 2008 to over 240 centimeters by 2023. That's more than 16 centimeters of growth each year. The benefits extend well beyond just corals. In restored areas, fish species more than doubled over 8 years. Overall fish diversity tripled within 15 years, while reef-sustaining fish became 4 times more abundant compared to untreated areas. Locals reported seeing colorful fish species return that hadn't been spotted since their childhood days. In the Florida Keys, where corals have declined by 98%, targeted restoration is bringing life back to what were essentially underwater deserts. Restoration divers report dramatic transformations. Areas that once contained nothing but a single conch are now teeming with massive staghorn coral colonies. These before and after contrasts show us that restoration really can work, transforming completely dead areas into vibrant ecosystems again. This is where hope comes from. Scientists are also pioneering larval restoration, collecting millions of coral eggs and sperm during spawning events, nurturing them in protected environments, and then directly seeding them onto damaged reefs. On degraded reefs where natural baby corals have almost no chance of survival, these human-assisted coral babies show remarkable resilience, with up to 50 times more surviving after 3 years compared to letting nature take its course. Community involvement has proven crucial to restoration success. Local fishermen and residents provide daily monitoring and hands-on care that scientists alone cannot maintain. Their continuous presence ensures corals receive protection during vulnerable growth stages, dramatically increasing survival rates and creating a sustainable cycle. Those who actively restore reefs become their most dedicated defenders. These restoration efforts aren't just growing corals, they're growing hope. A single fragment can be multiplied into thousands, and those thousands can restore entire reef systems, bringing life and color back to our oceans. The evidence is clear. When we give coral reefs the help they need, they can recover and thrive. Saving coral reefs isn't about finding one perfect solution. It's about orchestrating many approaches together. Scientists call this the 3 pillars strategy, addressing climate change through emissions reduction, improving local conditions by controlling pollution and overfishing, and active restoration through the techniques we've explored. Each pillar strengthens the others, working in harmony to create resilient reef ecosystems. When multiple interventions come together, the benefits multiply. Healthy mangroves filter pollutants from the land before they reach reefs, while thriving seagrasses stabilize sediments and reduce coastal erosion. By restoring these connected ecosystems, we significantly boost water quality and coral survival. Some solutions are remarkably creative. Scientists are using underwater speakers to broadcast the sounds of healthy reefs. The crackling, popping, and whooshing noises attract fish and enhance coral settlement in damaged areas. The partnerships driving these innovations are often unexpected. The U.S. Defense Department's research agency is funding scientists to develop heat-resistant corals that can withstand higher temperatures while protecting coastal areas. These efforts aim to create hybrid reefs that absorb up to 60% of wave energy during storms. Engineering firms are redesigning marine infrastructure to be reef-friendly from the start, with textured surfaces that encourage marine life settlement and diverse habitats that support reef recovery. Even tourism, once viewed primarily as a threat to reefs, is becoming part of the solution. Resorts, hotels, and dive centers are funding restoration projects and engaging visitors in hands-on conservation experiences. Indigenous knowledge systems are proving invaluable for restoration planning. Elders' historical observations of how reefs have changed over decades help identify optimal restoration sites with the highest probability of success. From acoustic reef sounds and heat-resistant corals to indigenous knowledge, these innovative approaches form a powerful symphony, yet they represent just one pillar in the strategy scientists have outlined. Without meaningful climate action and improved local environmental protection, even our most creative restoration efforts may fall short. True reef recovery requires all 3 pillars working in harmony. Saving coral reefs isn't just the work of scientists and governments. It's something each of us can contribute to every day. Simple actions can help protect our reefs. Choose reef-safe, mineral-based sunscreens. Look for labels like reef-friendly and ingredients such as zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. Say no to single-use plastics to keep waste out of our oceans and support sustainable seafood from responsibly managed fisheries. When you travel, choose eco-certified tour operators and accommodations that support local conservation efforts. Even picking up trash at your local beach helps. Debris that seems far from the ocean often makes its way there. Support organizations making a difference. The Coral Restoration Foundation, the Coral Reef Alliance, and the Nature Conservancy are leading efforts to protect and restore reefs worldwide through innovative science and community engagement. Use your voice. Advocate for emissions reductions and marine protected areas. Share coral restoration efforts on social media. Every action amplifies the message that coral reefs matter. Remember, healthy reefs aren't just beautiful. They're essential life support systems that protect coastlines, provide food security for millions, and sustain economies worldwide. Their future is our future. The story of coral reefs isn't over. In nurseries and restored sites around the world, hope is growing, coral by coral, reef by reef. The next decade is critical, but through the combined power of science, communities, and individual action, we're witnessing what once seemed impossible: reefs coming back to life. Ultimately, no matter how many corals we plant, without significant global action on climate change, these efforts might very well become a losing battle. But here's the hopeful truth: we can do both, restore reefs and tackle climate change together. The story of coral reefs isn't written yet. It's waiting for your voice, your actions. Every sustainable choice, every fragment planted, and every voice raised for climate action writes a new chapter. What began as isolated restoration efforts has grown into a global movement. Together, we can restore these underwater cities, coral by coral, reef by reef, securing not just their future, but our own.